Today I thought I would do another personal vehicle update video. This time it's the 2017 Subaru Legacy 3.6R. I've had this car since new, October of 2016 to be exact, so over just right around 3.5 years. Let's go ahead and jump inside. Again, a little bit dirty. Haven't had much of a chance to clean it these days, but let's go ahead and turn it on, push button start. And right now I'm sitting at 66,890 miles. I've really been racking up the miles doing rideshare work with this car, but it's been excellent. It's really a comfortable cruiser. It gets okay fuel economy with the 6-cylinder engine. And Subaru's eyesight, the adaptive cruise and all the lane departure warning and collision mitigation braking, that really makes, you know, all these extra miles I'm putting on it that much easier. It's been really, really great. So just a little brief tour of the interior. Turn on the headlights. The backlighting on all the buttons and switches is this nice red color. And I also changed the background of the infotainment screen to red. There are a few different colors available, but I like the red a lot. This screen is, compared to new cars of today, looking a little bit smaller, but this is still a 7-inch screen. It does have navigation, dual zone climate control. This screen here does look a little bit crowded with the dual zone temperature readouts, the outside temperature, and the clock. I know the refresh 2018 Legacy kind of cleared this up a little bit and made it look a little bit more organized. Unfortunately, the new Legacy loses this covered storage down here because of the huge 11.6-inch screen that it has. But it does add this little open storage tray, which this car does not have. But that's something I've noticed with the new Legacy, that, you know, take it or leave it. I would also argue that I think the seats in this generation Legacy, the 15 to 19 model, I would argue that the seats might actually be a little bit more comfortable in this older one. They're still excellent in the 2020 model, but this was something that really won me over on the car, was the seat comfort. Now, as you can tell, these seats are pretty much just for comfort. They're not really for spirited driving. There's basically no side bolstering. But again, this is a great road trip car, and it's, you know, it's very easy to go hours on end without getting exhausted or uncomfortable driving this. And here we are. Now, this seat is all the way back, and I am 6'4", so it's a little snug back here for me, but this seat is pushed forward some. But again, the rear seat is quite comfortable. All my rideshare passengers really like the heated seats back here in cold weather. That's a really nice party trick. Shot of the front from the back seat here. Let's take a look in the trunk. And a little bit of a scattered mess back here, but trunk space has been quite good. I have driven, you know, parties of 3 or 4 passengers from the airport and been able to fit all of their luggage in here surprisingly well. So cargo space is another highlight of this. Other maintenance I've done, I did front and rear brakes last summer, pads and rotors. Pretty straightforward to do on this car. Surprisingly, one of the differences on this 3.6 model is larger brake discs on the front. I think these are 12.4-inch rotors. And the rear brakes, as a matter of fact, I was kind of surprised. These actually have vented discs in the rear. And with the headlights on, I did retrofit LED fog lights in here. From the factory, there is also high-intensity discharge low beams. That was one change on the 2018 model. They went to LED headlights, and they're steering responsive also. And also, speaking of the headlights, really the only maintenance I've had to do is replace this side marker bulb, but very inexpensive and very easy to do. And going under the hood, this is the EZ36D Subaru 3.6 liter boxer engine. Since having it, I did put a new battery in it recently. I have been staying on top of oil changes. The service interval is 6,000 miles, but I've just been doing it every 5,000. I do use full synthetic 5W30. This engine does only require conventional. I have noticed before my last oil change, my low oil level light came on the dash, so I pulled over and checked the dipstick, and sure enough it was a quart low. So that's something I've been monitoring. I'm not sure if this engine is leaking or consuming oil somewhere. It hasn't been an issue since I changed the oil, but obviously I've been watching the dipstick closely. Now 60,000 miles is a major service interval in the owner's manual. The biggest part of that is replacing the spark plugs, which I haven't yet done. So I am past due for spark plugs. I've just been waiting for warmer weather because I think I'm able to tackle it myself, even though they're way down in there. But otherwise, I've been changing the air filter regularly, the cabin air filter regularly. Haven't really had to change any of the other bulbs in the headlights aside for the side marker in here. Serpentine belt is still in okay shape. You are supposed to change the brake fluid every 30,000 miles, which I did do it at 30,000, but I haven't done it yet for 60,000. So I'll probably have that done soon. The only other thing to check when I get a chance is the differential fluids, front and rear. I'm not sure how easy it is to get to the front differential, since, at least from the bottom, since there is a big underbody shield. But the rear is pretty easy. Now the only other issue I've been having that has actually been going on for a little bit of time now is this. If you take a listen, there's a clunking noise coming from, you know, it's something steering or suspension related. I thought it was just a bad sway bar link or bad sway bar link, since it also makes that sound going over a bumpy road or small bumps, things of that nature. But I actually replaced the driver's side sway bar link because I stupidly took the old one off the car, because even though there was nothing wrong with it, and destroyed it in the process, so I had to replace it. But the old one wasn't bad, and obviously the noise is still here. I had the car inspected by my mechanic last month, and he said that the noise is coming from the steering rack and pinion assembly. So that kind of sucks, but he said it's not a safety issue at this time, but if it gets worse, then we'll have to address it probably. Well, let's go ahead and take this for a spin. This is a new camera setup for me again, so we'll see what this looks like. Hopefully it works. The camera is basically right over my head. Now this does have the CVT, the TR690 unit to be exact. And so far it's been fine. Haven't really had any issues with it. Knock on fake wood. Unfortunately, I have had to buy more than one set of tires for this car. I've gotten 3 blowouts, really, or 3 flats, I should say. The first 2 were just from me being stupid and curbing the right rear tire and ripped open the sidewall. And with this being an all-wheel drive vehicle, it's really in your best interest to replace all 4 tires. But the last one I just got a nail in the left rear tire while I was driving on the turnpike, and I ended up getting 4 tires anyway because they were pretty worn and would have needed to be replaced soon anyway. Now the CVT in this car, it does feel like, even with the 3.6 liter, like it lags a little bit off the line when you're really trying to get the most power, but you know, once the revs start climbing, it really takes off quite a bit. And from what I understand, the 2.4 liter turbo in the 2020 Legacy is even more powerful. It has more torque than this engine. Horsepower is pretty similar. But overall, I have been pretty amazed with how well this car handles, you know, inclement weather, snow, ice, even rain. And just a brief little demonstration of the adaptive cruise. It is full speed range, holds you at a stop, and when it's time to go, just tap the gas pedal or hit the resume button. I'm gonna set my speed and increase the following distance. And now basically all we have to do is steer, as long as, you know, we have traffic in front of us. Needless to say, this won't stop for red lights or stop signs, so you still have to pay attention, but this is a nice feature to have, and it really makes road trips quite easy. In the last 3 months, I've driven to Florida and back. It's about a 1,200 mile trip one way. And I also did another 1,200 mile round trip drive for an audition I took recently, and it was, again, excellent. Let's pop open these windows. And all stock. This car's pretty quiet. It does simulate shifts when you accelerate more aggressively. In other conditions, when you're just cruising around town, the revs stay pretty low and pretty constant, and it behaves like a CVT, because that's what it is. It does have a manual mode here with paddle shifters. As you can see, it simulates 6 virtual gears. For the most part, I pretty much always leave it just in the normal drive CVT mode. There aren't any drive modes for this car. There's no eco, sport, normal, nothing like that. You just, it's more simple. You just get in it and drive it. Something I have noticed with this CVT is when you have the cruise control active, even under full throttle situations, it does not simulate shifts, so it makes passing maneuvers even quicker. And I'm gonna try and simulate that from a dead stop here. So cruise control is on, foot to the floor. It's kind of hilarious how well this thing handles corners. Alright, here's a pretty bumpy road that I'm sure will replicate that steering rack noise. I don't know if you can hear that or not. There it is. Cut the car off, and I think we'll end the video here.